So here's my thesis, that we have now crossed over into new territory. Our system has been fundamentally transformed, and the progressives in charge may think that you'll not be able to turn this around. They may be right, I don't know. They had to do it carefully, without you really knowing until the last. It's been breathtaking here in the last few weeks, how fast things are moving. Most Americans are not even watching. They're not paying attention. They're just going along. I'm telling you, and I'm going to slug them when they say, when did all this happen? It's been happening. And it's breathtaking. Dismantling all of these things has been quite something to watch. They didn't have all of these when I started tracking this about 4 years ago. Last night, I took my notebook and I broke it up into parts. And you can see how they started to chip away. They've done it now for 100 years, and they've waited for the right time to finish it and then pounce. Looking at each part of America, you'd have to say that the progressives may be done. Can we take this one by one? And can anybody give me examples on the military? Have they coerced, transformed, bribed, infiltrated, restrained, restrict, isolate, destroy, co-op, or compromise the military? Can anybody give me any news stories? Yes, Billy.
They cut billions off the budget for the Pentagon, and a lot of officials are talking about how it's going to compromise how they protect our country.
Okay. Caleb.
They restrained them with their rules of engagement.
Rules of engagement. Anybody else? Okay, those are good ones. They not only compromise them by the money, but they've also compromised their ability by, we've been in a war now for 12 years or 11 years. The guys are tired. Our military, the supplies have been depleted, and we're not replenishing with either people or supplies. But we've also done a couple of things. We've put some radicals in charge at the Pentagon. We have Leon Panetta, who has never been a Pentagon guy, doesn't like the Pentagon. We have destroyed the moral backbone of it. We've gotten rid of just cause theory. Can anybody tell me what just cause theory is? Just cause theory is what makes us stop killing people. Just cause theory is a very American theory. It's a Christian theory. And it was, George Washington said, we have to be good people. We have to be people of merit. The only way that we can win this war against the British is to have God on our side. And everybody fights with, oh, God's on our side. No, but are you on his side? That's the secret. And George Washington knew that. And I'm convinced that we made a covenant with God. He called for a day of fasting, humiliation, and prayer to beg God that he would set up the foundation and we would be victorious. And he had the whole nation do it before we started the war. He did it twice before we started the war. Just cause theory is when do you have just cause to kill somebody? When is a war just? And when it starts to turn on vengeance, then you're in trouble. Well, we've just removed the teachings of that. Now, I can't, for the life of me, think why would we do that? That's what keeps us from being killers. We've always been good soldiers. We have a few bad eggs from time to time, but we've always been good. Our government, our people, and a few people in the military from time to time may be bad, but we have generally always been a force for good. Why would we change that? We've also removed God from the military. We've now started putting atheists. We've put a Stonehenge in so we can worship idols now in the military. I mean, we've done some really crazy things to transform, coerce, infiltrate. Anybody know that now the DOJ has said that the gangs, we've had a 40% increase in gang activity and gang membership in the last 3 years. And according to the DOJ, we now have gangs at every level of our military. That's kind of frightening. That takes our fighting force, and it has begun to be co-opted. Banking. Have they done anything to banking? How? Anybody? Yes? Dodd-Frank, good. What has that done to it?
It's restrained the banking industry.
It's restrained the banking industry. Isn't that a good thing?
Too much.
Too much? Go ahead. Anybody else? What else have they done? Yes?
Well, by bailing them out, they can control whatever the banks do. The banks owe them now.
By bailing them out, maybe they've co-opted them. Anybody see what what J.P. Morgan Chase did to the Catholic Church today or yesterday? Last night it came out. J.P. Morgan Chase, last week the president said the Vatican might be a money laundering system. Wow. This week, last night, J.P. Morgan Chase shut down the Vatican's bank accounts. Now that's pretty intense, isn't it? Is it possible that the banking industry has been co-opted or compromised? I mean, they were already pretty slimy as it was. They were, I mean, you're playing numbers that just don't work. But now, are they on the side of somebody who's trying to control you or transform? Industry. How have they transformed industry? GM has been transformed. GE has transformed. There's all kinds of deals going on. How about industry? How about putting the small guy out of business? How about going after the Chamber of Commerce and putting the small guy out of business? Hurting the small guy while helping the big, powerful guy. Transportation. Right? Transportation. How about the labor unions? How about the unions controlling transportation? How about the unions saying that you can't build a new Boeing plant in this state to build more Boeing aircraft because you're trying to get away from the unions? That's controlling transportation. Media, I don't think we need to even go there. Healthcare, do we need to even go there? Agriculture. They're transforming agriculture by trying to shut down the small farmers. They're doing it by, if you work, anybody grow up on a farm? Did you work the tractor? No, you didn't do anything?
No, not really. No.
Okay.
I live near, like, on one, but it's not ours.
Okay,
yeah.
Not yours. I worked my grandfather's. I mean, I was, 10 or 12 when I'm driving the tractor. I mean, much to my grandmother's chagrin, but Grandpa would let me drive the tractor, and we would, I would work on the farm. Can't do that now. Agriculture. Agriculture is also being transformed in the way that if you are a farmer, there was this great story in Colorado where a farm was having all these famous chefs come out, and they were going to make fresh food off the farm. Well, the health inspectors came out. Now, this is farm fresh food. These are vegetables, washed clean. They're 5-star chefs. They said, "Where's your permit to use any of this food?" And the farmer said, "Well, I just got it out of the garden." Because they didn't have a permit, they had to take Clorox and destroy all of the food. Now, also, in New York, in Philadelphia, I think in Houston, you can no longer bring food from your farm and bring it to a homeless shelter because the government hasn't approved it yet. They don't know if it's safe or not. Education. They control education. Infiltrate, isolate, destroy, bribe, transform, coerce, faith, yes, energy. This is shocking to me. 2 refineries that produce 20% of the gasoline for the entire East Coast. 20% were closed. They're now offline, refineries. What do you think that's going to do to this? To you getting into a car? You going to work? What do you think that's going to do to food prices in the East Coast? Police. In Atlanta, they are now hiring people with a criminal record. 1 out of every 3 police officers in Atlanta have been arrested and been in jail. That doesn't sound like a good idea. And money. Have they destroyed our money? I think this list is comprehensive, and I think they're pretty much done. If you're looking at a 100-year plan, which is what I've been looking for, a 100-year plan, I think they pretty much have it. I mean, not everything is there, but they pretty much have. All they need now is the moment. All they need is a problem. All they need is $10 a gallon gasoline, Israel striking, uprisings all across the country, a banking crisis, whatever, anything. Remember, 3 years ago, I told you on the program on Fox, look out, look out. When the president first came into office, we had the stimulus bill. And I remember walking into the kitchen of our offices, and I looked at the producers, because it was 2,000 pages, and they were looking through it. And I said, guys, something bothers me here. Who wrote this? This isn't something you write in 6 weeks. Who wrote this? How long have they been working on it? Why have they been working on it? Look at the details in this. It took at least a year to put that together. Well, it took us about 4 months, but we found out who wrote it. And it was the Apollo Alliance. It was Tides. And we were right. They had been writing it for a long, long time. I told you at that time, look out, they are building a machine. This is way beyond Barack Obama. This is a 100-year plan. I believe you're seeing the dreams realized by progressives. It is no longer time to chase progressives. And that's really what I wanted to tell you today. The progressives, I believe, have realized their dream. They have taken those baby steps. The road we are traveling has now become the road we have traveled. Progressives have completed it, and they're turning the machine on. It's time to stop studying progressives and to start studying something else that we have spent some time on this program. But I think it's time that we pay much more attention to the tactics of communists and communism. What does it look like? How does it work? How has it been thwarted in the past? What do the radicals do? Who are they? What are the heroes and the villains? That is going to be the new angle on this program in the coming weeks and months. Communism. I think we've learned enough about the progressives. I think they can say, mission accomplished. Now, it's phase 2.